Hello, I'm Rebecca of Pocketful of Posies. Today I'm making a mid-Victorian corset cover. I used a PDF pattern by Truly Victorian, and my first step was taping the pattern together and cutting it out of mock-up material. Okay, mock-up number one, and as I suspected, it is too small. It was not too small. One of the pattern pieces had fallen behind my desk. I blame Hercules, who likes to take flying leaps from the desk to the top of the bookshelf. And there's the missing piece. And Hercules back for more mischief. So it was actually the side piece that I was missing, and I'm not entirely sure how I missed it. Maybe there were just so many pieces, but all of those pieces give it a very nice shape, so there you go. Okay, so don't be like me. Read instructions and make sure you have all of your pieces together. I just thought that the notches weren't correct. They lined up almost, but I thought maybe I notched them incorrectly. No, whole piece missing. So let's see if that affects the fit. Look at that. I just pinned it on to check the fit. Okay. So, I think I am not going to have to do any alterations. Amazing. Yay, now I can move on. Now I can move on to the actual fabric. I'm just going to use some voile, some cotton voile. My Hercules. Hey, baby. Hey. You my buddy? So then I set about cutting out the white voile. Time to start assembling! I pinned the pieces together, starting with the front and side front pieces on one side, working my way all the way around. I pinned them all together to make extra sure I did it correctly and I didn't leave anything out this time. I began sewing with a 1/2 inch seam allowance only to remember that I was planning on doing French seams and wrong sides together, although with this material it doesn't matter, both sides are exactly the same. So, seam ripping time! I began sewing again. This time I started with the front facing. They are not French seamed because it turns towards the right side of the fabric. Now I'm starting those French seams, wrong sides together. Then I cut that seam allowance to 1/8 of an inch. And then I turned so that the right sides were together and sewed a 1/4 inch seam allowance, encasing those raw edges on the inside of the corset cover. After I turned and pressed the front facings, I top stitched both edges of the facing, which creates the button plackets. Then I sewed the shoulder seams with a French seam. Then it was time to check the button placement. I didn't have enough matching buttons. I actually used 3 different types, but they're close enough to not be too noticeable. I marked the button placement. I didn't film sewing the buttonholes because I was afraid of jinxing myself. Okay. I have got it. I've put it together. Attempt to move back. And the fit is good. I'm going to add lace to the top here to finish. I think it's sitting well. And I'm very, very pleased with the fit. I sewed some lace to the front neckline. Then I turned it to cover the raw edges and whip stitched it down. I just did a narrow hem around the rest of the neckline, and I used a whip stitch to keep that in place. I used the machine to sew the hem, and I think it's only about a 1/4 inch hem, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I used the same lace that I used for the front of the corset cover on the neckline, and I sewed that around the arm size. And by this point, I was kind of tired and feeling lazy, so I just zigzagged the raw edges around the arm size to finish. I have my chemise on, my corset, and my bustle. Now for the corset cover. buttonholes, yet again, did not come out amazing, but they're better than last time. Thanks to the suggestion to put stabilizer underneath them. And yeah, so there we go. All done. So I wanted to see how it looked over the petticoat. And now the chemise underneath it I feel is a little bulky. But it is my chemise, so what are you gonna do? But when you look at the corset cover itself, I think it looks quite nice. Even over the bustle and the petticoat, it's got this little tail almost in the back, so it can fit over the petticoat. I don't know if I particularly like the way that looks, but it works. So all in all, I'm very pleased with this. Happy to have another undergarment finished. I hope you enjoyed watching my process of making this corset cover. Stay tuned for my summer corset and my Victorian wrapper dress. Thanks again for watching, and hello to my new subscribers. I'm so glad you're joining me on my sewing adventures. I'll see you next time.